Okay, I did it. I went and saw the new Purge movie, primarily because my biggest issue with the first movie was that it was just a home invasion movie. It's set in this world where crime is legal for one night, but then the movie just focused in one house. We never actually saw what goes on during the Purge. It's just some murderers break in the house and that's it. So the Purge sequel promised to actually show us what goes on out in the city when the Purge is taking place. So now that we've seen, the movie's out and most of us have gone and seen it, what happens during the Purge out in the city? Murder. Just more murder. More of the same. I will say this, the Purge Anarchy started out with one of the things that I personally wish the first movie, or one of my thoughts that would make for a good Purge movie, and that's to make an anthology story. Not just focus on one character, but to show us various stories. Show us, a variety of things that could take place during the night. That would be the easiest way to show all the different aspects of the Purge. It starts out that way, but then all the stories converge into one, and then it's just kind of it's just an action movie. At least the first Purge pretended that it was a suspense/horror type movie. This is just a straight up action movie. This is Escape from LA, but without Kurt Russell. So why bother seeing it if there's no Kurt Russell? There is nothing horrifying, disturbing, or thought-provoking about it. It thinks that it's thought-provoking. The Purge Anarchy, like the first one, thinks it's a lot smarter than it really is. It's that South Park episode where the boys write this really stupid, disgusting, amateur story, and the world reads way too much into it. And they sit down and they go, oh, come on, no one would just write this just because. There has to be a meaning to it. And the boys say, no, not if you're a bunch of fifth graders. And that's essentially what a lot of the Purge and the Purge Anarchy is. That thing in the trailer when the guy is skateboarding and he's got a clown mask, or not a clown mask, but he's got a porcelain mask on. It just says God written on it. I looked at that and I said, there's probably no reason at all why that says that on there, is there? Sure enough, once you see the movie, there's no context for that whatsoever. There is literally no reason for any of those guys, or for any of the supposed suggestive elements in here, to actually be there. They want you to ask the director what it means. For any of you that have seen the review online of The Cell or The Haunting, they just want the audience to ask what that means, implying that there is some kind of deeper meaning when there really isn't any. The movie doesn't know what it wants to do. Really, the core issue, what it breaks down to, is that the movie is taking itself so seriously. It's taking itself way too seriously for a premise this stupid. Everybody thinks that the premise is really oh, that's really interesting, really thought-provoking. But the problem is that the movie is trying to convince you that it's set in a realistic state. What if this really was a real, law? What if this actually passed? And they're trying to say it with a straight face, but you can't take it seriously because it is so ludicrous. This is still a problem that ventures over from the first movie. If all crime is legal during the Purge, wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity for another country to just step in and invade us when all hell is breaking loose and our emergency services are all shut down? If all crime is legal, but other certain kind of weapons are illegal, that doesn't matter then, because if everything is legal, any kind of sub-rules that you add to the Purge, you can break because all crime is legal. That's actually a big issue with this one, is that part of the Purge is that, certain class of weapons are not allowed. You can have handguns, you can have machine guns, you can have shotguns, but they make a point to say that, certain classification of weapons are not allowed. Okay, and I guess that it still doesn't make sense, because again, if crime is legal, you can have whatever weapon you want, and you wouldn't be judged for it. But in the movie, the very first kill that happens in the movie is somebody with a fucking chain gun. So why is that not illegal? Later, about 15 minutes later, there's a motherfucker in the back of a buggy with a flamethrower. Flamethrowers are illegal now. Why are they suddenly okay? Why are they not banned? Then at one point, a flashbang goes off. And suddenly alarms go off saying, you will be, you know, punished for using weapons outside of the class. So, miniguns and flamethrowers, perfectly acceptable. Flashbangs, for those of you who don't know, flashbangs are a kind of grenade that go off, and they are a non-lethal weapon. They are meant to incapacitate. It is a blinding, loud noise. It is a non-lethal weapon. The only way you could hurt somebody with it is if you strapped it to their chest and pulled the pin out. Even then, it wouldn't kill you. You'd be disfigured, yeah, but it wouldn't kill you. So why is that illegal in this world? Why is that not allowed during the Purge, but machine guns, chain guns, and flamethrowers are all perfectly acceptable? Another issue came up when, another suggestive thing that they try to do to get under your skin and make you, you know, creeped out and disturbed is frequently there's like this prayer that everybody does. There's this stupid purge prayer that everybody does. But it's a law. It's not a government. It's not a religious thing. It's just another attempt to try and disturb you. When really, it's just kind of stupid. The movie itself, like the characters are all pretty flat. None of them are outright annoying or stupid. They're just not all that interesting either. None of them really seem to have a motive outside of just surviving. And that would be fine, except that we don't get a chance to know them as people, really. The kid and then the main sort of cop character, they try and humanize them a little bit, and I appreciate the attempt, especially at the end. It pays off with the cop. You see it coming a mile away, but it's still, at least they attempt to wrap it up in the script. They're trying to be character studies, right? They're trying to make a statement on people and violence and you know, our social class, yet they seem to have no real understanding of how people really are. They seem to think that everyone is just this closet serial killer that would leap at the chance to kill if they won't get punished for it. I've got news for you. If people want to kill, they'll go out and kill regardless of the law. It's just how that works. During a purge, yeah, if it was real, I'm sure that there would be some people that would go out and do that kind of thing, but for the most part, people will go out. It would just be Black Friday again. People would just go out and steal, especially in this particular setting. In the movies, these movies take place in a world where where poverty is an issue, apparently, and everyone, you know, apparently the rule of the Purge is all crimes are legal unless it's against rich white people. And I'm not even kidding. There's a whole action sequence at the end where a bunch of rich white people are just paying to watch this shit happen. The only interesting element that gets brought up in this movie that I kind of enjoyed was this idea of an anti-purge rebellion movement, kind of this Rise Up Brothers kind of mentality, you know, hacked messages in TVs that play for a few seconds, pirated signals, graffiti on walls, voting down the purge. That was an interesting idea, and I thought, honestly, that could make for a whole movie. The problem is that they wait until the final climactic action sequence to really introduce that, and it's for about 3 minutes. That was really the only sort of new, interesting element that gets brought to it. Other than that, again, like the trailers promise to, you know, show you more of what goes on during the Purge, but they just give you more from the first movie. It's more, there's just more machetes, there's more guns, and it's just a murder fest. It's just pretending that people are all these secret psychos that are okay with bottling up their emotions and their sanity until there's suddenly no ramifications for it, and then they go nuts. As if that's how people really are. So ultimately what it kind of comes down to is that the Purge Anarchy sucks. It's so hard. It is impossibly stupid that, honestly, I'm not even speaking in hyperbole. I'm being completely honest. Transformers 4 was better than the Purge Anarchy. I'm not saying Transformers 4 is good. It sucks. It's terrible. I'm not going to watch it again. But at least Transformers 4 improved from its horrible predecessors. It learned to cut back on the racism, not entirely, but it did by a big lot. Not near as much misogyny, no sex jokes, no dog humping, more of the actual Transformers. It improved things. It's still bad, but it was a step up. So, you know, points for trying. The Purge Anarchy promises to improve from the first one. It sets your expectations up by saying we're going to do better this time, and then just repeats the same crap that it did before. So by doing that, it trips kind of over its own feet and ends up disappointing even harder than by just simply doing the same thing over again from the trailers and from the word go. A way that the Purge movies could honestly be great is if they just chilled the fuck out. If they would just relax a little bit. These movies take themselves so seriously that it sucks any of the fun out of the dumb premise. You can make a good movie out of a stupid story. You just need to execute it well. Or maybe not even a stupid story. Maybe I should say a hard to believe, a fantastical story, a hyper-realistic one. Battle Royale's premise is completely ludicrous, like that would never actually happen, but it sets the story in a world of hyper-reality. Their training video is this super peppy, happy girl who's basically a cheerleader for, you know, do well at killing yourselves, la-di-da-di-da. The Purge movies are just, you know, blah 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 for the greater good, blah blah blah, and it's so fucking boring. If these movies would just relax a little bit, like, you know what? Fuck it. If you're gonna do it in the future, don't make it 2032. Make it your 4059. Give me cyborg Purge. Give me characters that run around with, like, cybernetic arms and who all have... Do another anthology story where they all have different reasons for being out during the Purge. Make, like... yeah, give me cyborgs. Give me impossible to believe weapons. The Purge could be great. They could be great movies, but the fact that they're trying to... the fact that they think so highly, the movie thinks so highly of itself and that it's trying to say something smarter than it really is, it's overreaching its grasp, and it's just embarrassing to watch. It's like watching a friend of yours go up and do a really bad play, and you don't know how to react, but you can't deny what you're seeing either. So, oh god, Purge Anarchy blows so hard. It just, like I said, it's an action movie. It's Escape from LA, but without Kurt Russell. Therefore, negating any reason to see it. You see on Twitter, or I saw over Twitter, people saying that the second one is a huge improvement over the first one. If you were wanting an action movie this entire time, yeah, I guess I could see it. But really, it just repeats the first one again. There's nothing, until the last 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, there's nothing new brought to the table. Bottom line, Purge Anarchy blows hard. The only reason at all that it's making any money in the box office right now is because it's competing against Planes 2 and Sex Tape, also known as Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel Need to Eat. Honestly, the slogan of the movie, of the Purge, remember all the good the Purge does. It's been 2 movies now. These movies serve no good whatsoever.